Been practicing Buddhism. It definitely helps in situations like this.
Yeah, just breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe.
Yeah, exactly. Just go through the motions and the emotions. It's all gravy. Just life. Not a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's just show business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so um as soon as the social medias catch up with us, then everyone else will be able to join the conversation.
Okay.
Um, mhm.
Hmm. I see it.
That's been really exciting.
I
Yeah,
think we're
perfect.
live.
We are live. Wonderful. All right. Thank you for joining us. It started off with Testimony Tuesday, and we've gotten back to what this whole project was about, and that is the art of music. I'm joined tonight with Tim Steinruck. Such an absolute pleasure. I could write a novel with the amount of beautiful things that you have done to contribute to both to music and mental health. Would you mind letting the people know what you've been up to?
Sure. I mean, I guess I'll start in the present moment. I just watched the first cut of the Kickin' Stones video. Um, Kickin' Stones is kind of the last big song from the Mighty One. Got a band called the Mighty One, um, and we released an album called Torch of Rock and Roll in 2021. It was, came out of the pandemic. The pandemic was actually a very beautiful time that I'm very grateful for because I was able to just sit here in the studio for a couple of years and work on this record. And so Kickin' Stones is one of the last big songs from the Torch of Rock and Roll album. It's a 6.5 minute long song, but it's subject matter. The song was actually written in 1993, believe it or not, about my best friend and drummer, Jeff, right?
Wow. Okay.
Hey, Isabel, how are you?
This is from Argentina. That's so exciting. Yeah, I noticed that you and the Mighty One have absolutely put some beautiful music on the map. Considering that this came out of the pandemic, I could absolutely say that you've been going strong from long before that. And as the time goes forward, I've noticed like little beautiful things popping up all around the globe. Like there's there's everything from merch to you singing in different languages and collabs, and it's really great. So I'm not
Yeah,
surprised to see people from Argentina. That's wonderful.
yeah. Well, we've actually got some. Thanks, Calico. That's awesome. There's yeah. I've been singing in Spanish. That's one of the cool things. Isabel from Argentina knows that well. Kicking
Mm-hmm.
Stones is actually being released. The music video that I'm talking about for this, which is this huge epic that we filmed, I guess about a month ago, and I just saw the final cut. And the song is written about my best friend Jeff. I wrote it in 1993. I think he was about 25. We were both about 25. We were sort of at the
Yeah.
peak of our careers. We had, we were assigned to a record deal and management deal with Paul Stanley from Kiss. It was like this
Yeah.
really big deal. But at the time that I wrote the song, things were starting to wane. The the 1989 record deal, multi-million record deal that we had was starting to wane because grunge was coming up and it wasn't looking very good for us. And so the
Oh,
band was coming to an end. We were struggling mentally about that. We were really struggling. My friend Jeff was struggling a lot in his relationships. And so I wrote the song about him.
oh, wow.
Yeah, so I wrote the song about him, but it also has that essence of loss to it, right? And anyways, here we are 30 some years later.
Mm.
And that song has been sitting on the shelf, but during the pandemic, he had passed, he actually took his own life. Okay, he took
Yeah,
his own life, right? And so I really wanted to, it just seemed like the right time to bring that song forward and speak about it in a way that was, yes, about that history of the past, but it was also about his passing and the
right.
way um that he died. You know what I mean? Which was it was hard. It was really hard for his family. It was hard for me. It was hard for everybody involved. And so this was kind of a big tribute to him and an honoring of him. And just to let you know, I mean, you know me, I'm a very spiritual person, right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
believe in the supernatural, and I believe that the veils between this world and that world are actually pretty thin. So
Right.
I was sitting here in the studio, and Paul Archer, a friend of ours, you know who Paul Archer is, I'm sure.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, so a very talented airbrush artist. He
Mhm.
had airbrushed this canvas for me as a tribute to Jeff to hang in my studio. So
That's
I hung it
beautiful.
just behind this monitor here. I hung it there as sort of a focal point that I could work, on this album with. And so as I was choosing songs for this album, Kickin' Stones came to my awareness. Okay, I need to add Kickin' Stones to this record, right? It's time.
It's
I
time.
hadn't really done anything with the song. I can't believe it. And I'd actually even kind of forgotten about it. And
Right.
so, anyways, I put Kickin' Stones on the monitors, and I'm listening to it, and all of a sudden, I hear this massive crash in like the lobby of my studio, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And I go out there, and on the top shelf, I still had some of Jeff's cymbals,
Oh, wow.
and they had jumped off of the top shelf onto the ground, and there they were. The case was broken open. The cymbals were everywhere. The hair stood up on the back of my neck, and I just went, Jeff?
He was like, "I'm here. I'm ready for you guys to do this. Like, it's
Yeah, it was
time."
like
Wow.
it was a confirmation.
Yes.
It was crazy. And
That
so
beautiful.
now here we are with that song. It's been released. It's starting to really, really gain momentum around the world. And now we're putting out this epic, epic music video, which your dad is in.
I know, and we've all been sitting here with bated breath, just like gripping with anticipation. I'm so excited to finally see it. The teasers are amazing. Honestly, like if no one knows how to cause a scene, it's definitely you. You have everybody at the edge of their seat waiting for it. It's well anticipated. When I started this company, when I finally went and got my business license, the lady said, why would you call it Pinecase? And I said, because I'm the link between the pine needle gland and a pine casket. Like I want to be the connection between people,
Wow.
utilizing their third eye, and we use music ceremonially, and we use it to celebrate, and we use it when we grieve. And so it seemed to me to be the obvious thing. And it not everybody thinks like that, but I know that you and I think very similarly. And I know that when you write music, especially this song, it's an exact fit, and it allows people, in on how, one's feeling in that moment. So yeah, it's an absolute honor to have you on here and to anticipate this music video with you guys. And yeah, I'm excited always to see my dad. But yeah, this song, for sure, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, just to anybody who's listening and wants to know, Khalees's dad, Chris Campbell, is the bass player in the band. He's been the bass player on, off, and now on again.
That's right.
for,
Yeah.
for it's been like, yeah, at least 10, 15 years, right? So
I would comfortably say 10. So when you guys came, oh, there's so much sentiment to this. When you guys came and played Campbell River at the Voodoo Lounge, which originally, a lot of people in the music world would remember as People's Cabaret in Campbell River. I mean, I grew up like, being babysat in the upstairs while Dad played gigs downstairs. So that one was a huge one. That was prior to me, having children, and my son's going to be, or he turned 10. We're working on 11 here. So, yeah, it's been a little while for sure since he's been part of the Mighty One.
yeah, I'll never forget that tour, actually. And you were working at this really cool resort.
Yes, that's right.
It was just the most awesome thing. Yeah.
Painter's Lodge. I fell in love with being part of the music scene working there. There wasn't a whole lot happening in the community at the time, but we did have little jam nights. And not being super musically inclined, I mean, Dad's tried to teach me, every instrument there is, and it just wasn't my thing. I found my place in front of house, definitely working there, and then moving to the Tidemark Theater. So yeah, I'm glad that you remember that. You had a good time. It's great.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. And thank you so much for oh, hi Brenda. Cool. Good to see Brenda too. And thanks for so much about mentioning where Pinecase came from, because I was wondering if
Yeah.
it had something to do with the pineal gland, and it had something to do, because I know that we're talking about mental health, we're talking about suicide, we're talking about those kind of things. And so to hear that you've sort of woven these two things together of a higher mind. Anybody who doesn't know what the pineal gland is, it's like this in the gland in the middle of our head. It's really kind of almost like a radio antenna to the higher levels, right?
Yeah, that's
And
right.
it's one of the things that, honestly, for me, getting in touch with that gland and activating that gland on a daily basis is paramount and so important to good mental health.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's really
Absolutely.
quite easy to do. Like when you raise your body's energy through exercise, right? Like it's 7 or 10 minutes of exercise, and you raise the blood flow, and the sweat starts happening a little bit. Doesn't have to be huge, but it releases these amazing things from the pineal gland. Like amazing things get released. Oxytocin,
Serotonin, dopamine.
serotonin, yeah, all these amazing sort of, how would I call them? I would call them antidepressants. Natural
Yes.
antidepressants are right there waiting to be released, but you've got to put that effort in. And that's why I have started, since I'm actually at 1,583 days today, that I have every single day.
Oh,
My
wow.
daily discipline is to get that 7 to 10 minute workout,
Wow.
breathing, some meditation, and then, as you know, share something into the world through social media,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Which you're doing a great job. Your Einstein quotes are so interesting. You're almost at the end of that, and I'm a bit saddened that we're almost at 90. So I'm excited to see what you come up with next. But yeah, you definitely you have a great, that's interesting. I didn't realize that you had been at it for that many, and the fact that you've kept count. Today, actually, for those of you who don't know, I'm actually in the middle of taking my community support worker certificate, and so we'll be finishing that up here in a few weeks. And my instructor said to me, self-care is important. And if we don't know how to do self-care, then we weren't able to show other people how to do it. And the standard was, 30 minutes a day. And we kind of talked about it. And she said, self-care can look like a lot of things. And to some people, it looks like drugs and alcohol. And I thought, from someone who has some experience in the world of like recovery and navigating that whole thing, I thought that was really interesting because it's never really talked about. And then I jokingly said, like at Pinecase, we say that music is our DOC, which is drug of choice. And so we had this kind of full circle moment about how, if music is your drug of choice and you choose to use a drug for your, for your 30 minutes or whatever, then music is absolutely a viable therapy. So it's like my stick to it in class today. I was like, I'm going to push this music thing if it kills me.
Oh, hey man, I am a firm believer in music and sound and frequency and their total healing powers. Thanks very much. When you were advertising this, talking about us getting together, you talked about my sound healing, right? Which is
Yes.
something that I learned about actually in an ayahuasca journey. I was told by the spirit of ayahuasca that, hey,
Yep.
you know what? You don't need to do this. You already know how to do this with sound. Already
Right.
know how to do this with music. And so that's when I started developing my sound healing using NASA's Sounds of the Planets as sort of
Yeah.
a base. And then I would go out into nature, or I do still go out into nature and record nature sounds. Frogs are amazing. Grasshoppers are amazing. Those sounds where it's like a whole bunch of animals or insects all together, birds also, wind, fire, rain, thunder, like
Thunder.
all of these things are amazing. So I use these NASA Sounds of the Planets. I have that on one computer. The other one is the nature sounds. And then I have another channel that's my guitar with maybe some crazy effects and my vocals with some other crazy effects. And then get some beats going. And people just lay there on a blanket and a pillow, right? And they just lay back and cover their eyes, get rid of that sense, so that, because this is actually our most sensitive organ right here,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so it's feeling it through our body, and people go on this journey, and they actually get a release of DMT from the pineal gland through the sound and frequency, and it's the most amazing thing.
For those of you who haven't experienced it, it's about as close to I don't want, and so sorry. So just for some clarity, when I say the road to recovery, it takes all things to get there. And a lot of those things look like spiritual journeys that you can use by utilizing like mushrooms, peyote, and things like that. They're extremely popular and getting pushed to the forefront of what it means to be well, which is wonderful. So for those of you who haven't experienced either of those things, it's something that will take you from the feeling of holding a child or a loved one against your skin, to the mist of an ocean on your face. It's it's borderline astro traveling. So it's interesting that you're able to like navigate people through that process. That's really neat.
In a natural way. I mean,
Hmm.
in a natural way. It doesn't have to be through a medicine journey. Yes, that is a very, how shall I say, turbocharged way to get there.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Which can be,
Absolutely.
for some people, can be super traumatic too, right? So like, you got to be really careful with these things. But
Right.
a lot of these things are also available just with sound. I mean, there is so many, even YouTube videos. Put on some headphones and just travel with some of these meditation and videos with their sound and the binaural beats. And I mean, it's crazy what is out there for free,
Hmm.
absolutely for free. And you don't have to necessarily go on these turbo journeys of medicine, right? So, and especially those that are maybe have been struggling with substance abuse. Sometimes staying away from those things is essential to
Yes,
a full healing journey, right?
that's
As
right.
you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sometimes sustaining is just as important as utilizing. I didn't really understand maybe the line where self-medicating became self-indulging, but I definitely learned that the hard way. And once I figured it out, I actually had a really beautiful experience. And I don't want to I don't want to glamorize anything, but it led me to a place where I actually met a monk of 33 years, and it's a massive testament to me standing here today. He he basically the same kind of experience that you had, that you already have all the tools that you need. There's nothing here that you're going to learn that you don't already know. But you need to go back into that Rolodex and start really putting some of these things to work. And once I had that, because sometimes we just need to be reminded gently with a swift kick in the teeth, that we already are aware of these things. And as soon as I had that reminder, I was well on my way. And I was like, okay, that's right. That all the tools are in the box, and we just need to put them into play. So, music, absolutely. Buddhism is definitely one of those things. And we kind of joked because I was wearing a Wu-Tang sweater. And so anyone who kind of knows why Wu-Tang is, none of this stuff is new. None of these tools are new. They're quite old. And
They're
so it's nice
ancient,
that someone like you
absolutely
who's
ancient tools for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. So it's nice to see them being brought up again. Like, you have social media, locked right down. So it's great that there's someone like you that has all this knowledge that's able to bring it to us kids and us elders and us ignorant people on the internet that need things like that.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I got to tell you, I am not using really my mind anymore at all. Well, Calico says I've been listening to guided meditations every night for 6 years. Perfect. What a perfect way to go to bed is to do a guided meditation before you fall asleep, and think about something that you're grateful for. I always think about one thing I'm grateful for, what went well today, what didn't go well today, and what can I do better tomorrow. Those four things are the last four thoughts I have. And then Calico, much like you, I've got one of those. You've seen those, like it's a headband that's got
Mm.
speakers in it, right? Like headphones, but you got just sleeper headphones.
Oh,
And
wow.
I have just use Bluetooth, and I usually put on some kind of tones or something. I go through a bunch of different processes. So a lucid dreaming, I practice lucid dreaming, which is amazing.
Mhm.
I love that. It's
Yeah.
incredible. And lucid dreaming is where you wake up inside of your dream, and then you're able to control the dream. So you're actually able to create an or conscious experience within your unconsciousness. It's definitely next level, but with a little bit of practice, you can have that experience. But
How do
yeah,
you get to be like, how do you practice, and what are people practicing to get to that level? Like, obviously there's there is some kind of keywords that people talk about. Reiki's one of them, sound bowls and things like that. But what are the tools that you use specifically, Tim, that will allow people to have a similar experience to that?
are you talking about lucid dreaming now?
Yeah.
Okay, so lucid dreaming, honestly, the best way to have lucid dreaming is to have some kind of a journal beside your bed. And as soon as you have a dream, when you wake up and you've had a dream, and most of us have a dream, but we can't really remember it. So
Right.
if you start to practice when you wake up, remember the dream and write it down right away. Because as we know, it fades in about 30 seconds or a minute, it's gone, right?
Mhm.
So write that dream down. Now, waking up in the middle of the night, you have to go pee or whatever, right? Most of the time you've had a dream already.
Mhm.
Grab your journal, write down whatever happened, even as weird and as nonsensical as it is. You just start keeping a dream journal.
Okay.
After a while, you will notice that you remember your dreams a lot more, because now you're putting some real conscious effort into remembering those dreams.
Mm.
Once that starts to happen really well, you actually wake yourself up at 4 a.m. Like, you set your alarm. You wake
Okay.
yourself up at 4 a.m. So alarm goes off. If you have a dream, you write it down. and then you go back to sleep, and in your mind you say to yourself, I would like to have a lucid dream.
Oh, so it's like giving yourself permission.
Correct. Correct.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, that's interesting. And I wonder what the significance is to 4 o'clock. Does that have to do with like the REM that you might be in at that time or?
Between 3 and 4 o'clock, even in spiritual traditions,
Yeah.
that's kind of a magic hour, right? Some people use 3, some people use 4. I mean, in a lot of Indian traditions, they wake
Mhm.
up at 4 a.m. and they start their meditations at 4 a.m. because it is the most powerful time to do that. Again, it's when those veils between the conscious and the unconscious are their thinnest. Because
Right.
the
Okay.
world, your world is quiet around you, right? Everybody's still sleeping. You know,
Right.
the birds are just starting to wake up. You can hear them, right? So it's a very magical time, that hour between 3 and 4. Yeah.
It's so beautiful once you give yourself permission to allow those things in your day and then they start you're like anticipating them, right? You're just like you want them to happen, but it's like soon as you allow them to happen, they just start happening. Like the road that you started on was wider, and then as it gets kind of narrower, all those things are just so in your path that you have no choice but for them to happen. Like just chronically waking up at 4 a.m. I had the 3 a.m. experience for long enough to notice that it was happening. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people do. And when you do, it's a sign that it's time for you to start working on something, right? So
Mhm.
for me, as a songwriter, a lot of the songs that I've written come to me right as I'm waking up. So depending on what it could be a 4 a.m. in the morning, could be a 6 a.m., could be a 7, doesn't matter. But that space right between asleep and awake, there's kind of a magic moment in there. And
Mhm.
oftentimes an
Yeah.
entire song is there. There's a song on Torture Rock and Roll called The Darker Side of Me.
Yes.
And that song came from my alarm. There's like an alarm on the phone that has a melody to it, which I was using at the time. So the alarm came on. The song was written within like a split second. And I'm talking all of the melodies, all of the lyrics, everything. I came down here into the studio straight from my bed in my underwear, and I sat here and I sang the song into the phone, and it was done. Like it was done. It's
Wow.
crazy. It's crazy.
That
The dream world is a very special world.
that's such a powerful thing. Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting. I'm excited to go and get a journal and start doing that. I was always wondered about lucid dreaming. I used to get stuck in my dreams when I was younger. So dreams are something that often scared me, but yeah, I feel much more in control of how that would turn out. So that's really exciting stuff. What are some other songs, Tim, that have come about from similar experiences or like spiritual experiences?
Oh man. I mean, my phone is just jammed with ideas of me sitting down here humming into my phone at whatever time of the morning. But but yeah, I mean, I remember there was a time where I could actually, it was not Torture Rock and Roll, but the album before, I was going in my dreams, and I know I was lucid dreaming. I wasn't really aware that it was, but looking back, I was. And I was in the studio and I was actually tracking things. So I was tracking the drums and the bass and the guitar and getting those relationships. And then I'd try a vocal part and go, oh, that didn't work. And then, oh, yeah, that'll work. And changing lyrics. And I was just like fast forward and rewinding like I was in the studio, but I was in my
Mhm.
dream.
Wow, that's neat.
I I
That's really
love I
neat.
love I love the dream world, and anybody who enjoys dreaming, man, I
Mm,
can't tell you how powerful it is to practice lucid dreaming. And again, all you do is punch into YouTube, punch in lucid dreaming meditation, and you put that on in your head, and it will support lucid dreaming. So the intention before you go to sleep of I will have a lucid dream. I am looking forward to having a lucid dream. I am looking forward to waking up inside of my dream and controlling my dream. When you can do that, when you actually have that experience, and at first it'll just be for a little bit and then it goes away. But once you start to really have it, your evening sleeping suddenly becomes the most entertaining part of your day because it's
Yeah.
just a huge creative thing. Like it's nuts.
Yeah. That's super exciting. So what happens, like, are you at a place now where you feel like, because I know when you guys were just in Nanaimo there, you guys were having a heck of a time, things were happening, the bus was breaking down and all of that good
Are you
stuff.
talking about Rise Up TV?
Yeah. What yeah, so like in situations like that, I
Mhm.
feel like well, first, actually, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about that? Because it was fun for me to watch some of that. We can send everyone over there.
Sure, sure. Yeah. So I've been helping to develop reality TV show. Basically, is what it is. I mean, I don't really like to say reality TV show because oftentimes they're kind of, how shall I say, very sort of scripted and salacious. You know what I mean? Where this is more real. I would say I would call it more of a docudrama. And so we have a tour bus, and
Hmm.
we take bands and artists on the road and give them a touring experience, but we film everything. We film everything, the good times, the bad times, the wins, the losses, the fights, the love, and the one in the Nanaimo, bungee jumping, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually went bungee jumping in that exact spot.
Did you
Um,
enjoy it?
yeah, it was awesome. I was a bit nervous when you start walking up because it's such a tower to get
Yeah,
up there.
yeah.
But yeah, once I went, it was something I definitely suggest for everybody. If you haven't tried bungee jumping, you guys, they have it's in Nanaimo and they got a wicked setup. You can go bungee jumping or you can hit the swing if you're not quite into bungee jumping. But yeah, it's really cool. Did you end up dipping your head in the water? I didn't get to see that part of it.
I did. So they weigh you before you go in, and they say like, okay, do you want to hit the water or not hit the water? Do you want your head just to touch the water? Do you want your head to go in? Because they adjust this big elastic band thing, this rope that you're hanging from. They adjust that so that you can get right to the right height. It's like 150 feet. Like it's not a small jump. It's crazy, right? And
Yeah,
you
exactly.
have to commit. Like you basically have to swan dive. If you
Yeah.
don't swan dive, because a couple of people didn't that we were with, and they sort of whatever kind of stepped off, and then you just get kind of whipped, and it's like, oh, it's nasty, right? So it was really, for me, that experience was all about surrender. And I think
Yes.
that's probably the biggest theme in my life over the last 5 years, especially, is a total surrender to whatever's going to happen. And so what I do is I also visualize. Okay, so I visualized what it was going to be like to jump off of that bridge, right?
Mhm.
Before it happened, even though I'd never done it before, but I created the scenario in my mind, and I probably jumped at least 100 times before we went and even jumped off that bridge,
In your
right?
yeah. That's right, which is why I brought it up because I feel like you're with all of these tools that you have, and music being one of them. Um, you actually navigated all of those people through that experience, and it shows even in the trailers and stuff. You can see how, I guess, yeah, if you kind of relinquish yourself to the situation, you can actually see it come through you where you can offer people a comfortable way through the situation. And when I heard that you could dip your water, and I was like, that almost feels like a baptism, of
Nice,
sorts.
nice. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, it was an amazing experience. What a freeing experience. Was I
Very
was
much.
I nervous before I stepped off the thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
What was really funny actually is the guy was tying up because they tie up around your feet, right? because
Right.
you go straight in. And the guy was tying it up, and I'm like, so what does it feel like to jump off? Like, what's it like? And he's not saying anything, and the guys around him that are working with him, they're kind of like laughing, and I'm going like, what's so funny? And they're like, I said, what's the problem here? And he goes, I'm too scared to jump myself. I've been working here for about 6 months, and I've never jumped. And
You're kidding.
this was the guy getting me ready to jump. It
Oh no.
was hilarious. It was hilarious. Yeah.
That's out of control.
Yeah. I
That's
believe
crazy.
so, Kalisha, I really believe
Yes.
in the power of visualization. Okay. That's one of the things that as I did my training, because as you know, I work as a coach.
Yes.
I worked through a master coaching degree in accelerated evolution, it's called. And the main things about visualization is to the images. So see the images, the thoughts that you're having while you're doing whatever you're doing,
Mhm.
the feelings or the body sensations, right?
Mhm.
Or sorry, the feelings or the emotions, and then the body sensations. So those four things: thoughts, feelings, images, and body sensations. So those four things, if you can go into a meditative state, slow your mind down, and have those feelings and have those images and everything like that, that's what you can do to create your reality. So just to prove that that's possible, I have been doing that since whatever, for what did I say, 1,584 to 82 days or whatever. I've been
Mhm.
doing that every day. And when I started that 1,500 days ago, I visualize, and I still do every day, holding a Grammy Award in my hand. Okay. So I walk up onto the stage. Okay. Like I hear them call my name.
Mhm.
I feel the feeling of them calling my name.
Yeah.
And then I walk up the stage, and I'm very aware of every step. And I walk towards the podium, and there's the presenter, the beautiful presenter, and I see her fingernails, I smell her perfume, I see the look in her eyes. She gives me the award. I feel her hands on my hands, and I walk to the podium, and I look out at the audience, and I say thank you, and I have that feeling of completion. Well, last year, as you know, I ended
Yes.
I ended up at the ISSA Awards,
The International Singer-Songwriter Association Awards. Yes, absolutely.
and I wasn't expecting to win anything. I really wasn't. And I walked away, first time that somebody has ever won 3 awards in a row. Songwriter of the Year, Band of the Year, Album of the Year. Hey,
Congratulations, man. Congratulations to that. Yeah. And
but it's just what I'm saying is it's proof that it works. We can become masters of our reality. We just need to go into that state of what we want to create
Mhm.
every day, right? That's all we
Yeah.
need to do.
As you were walking us through that, I could actually feel the weight of the award in my hand.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that's how, descriptive it was. Like, I don't long for an award of any sort, but I could feel the weight of the award. I could feel the edge of the stage where my body needed to be in that space. Like, yeah, it's a powerful thing to be walked through that, even as somebody else's vision. So thank you for that.
No problem. Yeah, just do it, and do it in slow motion. And
Hmm.
do it every day. And if you can, again, if you can raise your vibration and raise your body's energy, your blood flow, get that release from the pineal gland, right? Get that release of all of those beautiful chemicals and all of those beautiful hormones, and then
Hmm.
just breathe. And the meditation is just simply the visualization of your goal achieved. And that's the thing, that we need to have that feeling that it's already achieved. So, for instance, I work with people. I have a program called End Your Struggle Now. Okay. A lot of
Mhm.
people who are dealing with drug addiction, a lot of people who are dealing with really deep emotional problems, emotional blocks that are keeping them from living their life.
Mhm.
I say to them, as we dive in and really experience those things, because we need to experience, the
Of course.
thing that we're trying to clear, we need to experience it fully.
Mhm.
But we can also create the experience of visualizing what comes after, the life where I'm no longer in addiction, the life where I'm free of my addiction, the life where I'm happy, I'm healthy,
Yeah.
and my relationships are happy and healthy, and my life is beautiful. We can visualize that also, even while we're working through some of those deeper issues.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what's missing, or that's what I thought was missing originally. And I know, even the youth feel it when they're dealing with, like, counselors at school. No one relates to me, and women, or not women, sorry, parents in general, when they're dealing with social services, and maybe the social worker doesn't have kids of their own, and they're like, how dare they? They don't know what it's like, and then, yeah, right into addiction and recovery, like, that person's never been on the streets or use any of these things. What do they know? And so, yeah, being able to walk yourself through that process and really being able to relate is so fundamental, especially nowadays, where we're living in a world where, not only did we survive the pandemic, but we're in a massive fentanyl epidemic.
Sure,
um,
sure.
yeah, so yeah, we definitely need more people in the world, like you. That's Yeah.
Mm. I I'm here to be of service. Um, and I'm also here to live a life from instinct and intuition as
Mhm.
opposed to mind and logic. Okay. So, um, I don't know if you studied this, but heart and mind coherence. Okay. So, the mind is obviously super intelligent, it can create all sorts of awesome stuff. Okay. But it really doesn't feel anything. The feeling is here in our heart. Okay. So our heart, it can feel things, but it can't necessarily implement things. It needs the mind to think about, how am I going to implement that? So if we can find that space of heart and mind coherence where these two things work together, that's where we can truly change our life. Um, but staying in just one place of the mind and logic, which most of the world operates from the mind. And that's why we've got some of these huge issues. And it's why you do what you do, right?
Yeah.
Because of emotional issues,
Mhm.
because of emotional blocks that happen maybe when we're a kid, or a relationship, or whatever. As a block that happens, and boom, suddenly you're kind of shut down,
Mhm.
and you can't really move forward, and you can't really move back. So all you can do is temporarily escape. And that's
Mhm.
what substances do for us. We can temporarily escape, but when we come back down, we're still at the same place that we were. We might even be stuck even more. Like, as you know, the song that I've got called "So High" that I wrote is
Yes.
about that. How we try to almost use drugs and alcohol and whatever to get closer to God. And for a moment, like a heroin addict will tell you, it's like,
Mhm.
I went to heaven. Like, it was so warm, and it was so beautiful, and the colors were so bright, and everything was amazing. But then once that ebbs off, suddenly you're further down than you were before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, unfortunately, the when we utilize, substances, to give us that artificial feeling, and it goes back to the hormones, right? So when you're once you flooded your dopamine and serotonin receptors with this artificial hormone, aka the drugs and alcohol constantly all the time, your body stops reproducing it naturally,
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate. But as the body's natural depletion happens, we have to then not only fill to be happy, but also just fill to be quote unquote normal, or to feel regular. And that's the problem that they're having now, is that you can get people off of the drugs, right? Because it's just a matter of removing them out of the way. But what do we do as a way to get those dopamines and those hormones and the serotonin and everything going again in a way without adding an antidepressant right away? Because that's always been the solution, or it has been up until just recently, right? Well, we'll just give them pills, and it's just putting people further and further away from getting those natural goals reached. So it's important that people are using all tools like music and grounding, and nutrition's another one that's just not talked
Oh
about
yeah.
enough in
Oh
such a way. Like it's amazing what I joke, because I used to have the hookup, but now I have a vegetable hookup at this really awesome place called Pick and Pack, and it's like I'll post photos because it's so funny. But like 70 pounds of vegetables is really something to gawk at, and I'm really quite proud that I can do all these really awesome things with it. But it's amazing when you have even just food, something as simple as food that doesn't have all the extra stuff in it, how you can just appreciate the flavor, and even just the flavor gets those things going, never mind the vitamins and minerals. Like it's a whole thing in itself. But yeah, you're absolutely right. As soon as you start down the road of that of uh the artificial filler, then yeah, you're not leaving any room for any of the natural stuff to do what it needs to do. So
no, I mean drugs and alcohol and even like I say, even some of these antidepressants and stuff like that, they're a stopgap.
mm,
They're just something to help you through to the next level.
yeah.
Now, a lot of people start to rely on them, right? But
Mhm.
as we talked about earlier, a lot of this can be achieved simply with diet and exercise.
Yeah.
Honestly, exercise, and it doesn't have to be like going to the gym every day. It's like in your living room, even dancing. Like I always suggest to women, like get
Mhm.
up in the morning and dance a couple of your favorite songs, and dance the shit out of those songs. Like
Yeah.
for women, it's just an amazing thing. I mean, even myself, I dance like crazy. My daughter
Mhm.
likes to dance. We have dance parties all the time. We get the smoke machine going, and we get the lights going, and oh yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. But that's like an endorphin release, and it's a
Yes.
happiness, and it's just
Yes.
incredible, you know?
Yeah, it's so important. I'm actually putting on, I've joined up with Decimate Metal Fest in Millet, Alberta,
Yeah,
June 7th and 8th. Tim, if you're not doing anything, you should come and check it out. It's pretty
I should.
awesome. Yeah, we got 2 days of everything metal, and it's going to be totally awesome. Yeah, let me know if you're available, and we'll make it happen, because it's super crazy and so fun, and it's all ages, and it goes back and in line with everything that we're saying, that the music is one thing, but dancing is a whole other thing. When you get your muscles going, and you're in the movement in your soul, like, there's nothing quite like it. I dance, and my kids all dance. Well, my kids all danced like professionally, but they all dance. And with this new baby, it's not any different. Like he's, whether he's stuck to my chest or whatever, it's just that movement in the morning. It gets everything going. The coffee pot gets turned on, or the tea kettle or whatever, and the music, and to the point where now the kids, they know exactly what is happening in the household based on what it sounds like. You know what I mean? Like they know
Yeah,
exactly what to expect. They know exactly what's on the menu. They know whether we're eating inside or outside. Like,
yeah,
yeah, they know exactly what, and there's greatness in that too, because then they, especially with children, when they're aware of what is happening, then they can set themselves up for success, and kind of like, move their way, mentally around what needs to happen, whether they want to join us or not. Like, I had a situation with my son the other night where he was like not joining me for dinner. Like he was not into it at all. And I was like, well, all right, whatever. You
okay,
need a minute. Yeah, chill out. And it was just a matter of putting on a song, and then he like, he couldn't stand it. Like he could be mad for only so long with that song on, because he knows that, if that song's on, then we're all upstairs dancing, having a good time. So, can put the food aside for a minute, but he had to be a part of that situation. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
well,
amazing
this
what
whole
happens.
thing about adhering to these structures, uh,
Hmm.
kids, as something with my daughter, I was very lucky because as you know, when I met you, I think I still had my business a cleaning business in the film industry, and when I found out that Heather, my wife, was pregnant, I just went, you know what, that's 24/7. It's like eats my whole life. It's
Yeah.
taken me away from my career, and I just had to let it go. And I sold it. I mean, probably shouldn't have, I guess, in a logical sense,
Right.
but from an instinct and intuition place, it was the right thing to do. And then I
Hmm.
just took the money from that business and I invested it into being with my daughter. I was the
Yeah.
stay-at-home dad for 5 years,
Yeah.
you
Isn't that amazing?
and it was incredible. And when I look at her now, 13 going on 18, uh, she's just a beautiful, talented human being. Yeah, sure, she has her struggles too, as we all did when we were teenagers. But I just can't think of a better investment to make than into our own kids. And I know you're
Yeah.
totally like the same way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Just quickly, it's been an absolute honor to watch her grow up, especially through all of your interests. I know that kids don't always necessarily think what their dad is doing is cool, but much like myself, yeah, we both just have really, really cool dads, and so I'm not surprised that she's turned into a lovely young lady with similar interests. But yeah, it's been an absolute honor to watch her grow and flourish. And I think that you're right. It has a lot to do with what's happening and what you're putting out there, right? Like not
Sure.
only to be able to dedicate that time, but also to keep the just all the interest, like because you have your hands in quite a few things, right? And you always brought her along to be involved in all of them. So like what a great foundation for a young lady to be like, well, I've already done all of that stuff. Like, she's checked a lot of boxes already. So yeah, it's really, really neat.
We
Really
went we
neat.
went to this really, really cool thing. I've got some friends of mine with it's called Unity is the name of
Mhm.
the organization. And they do these events at St. James Church in Vancouver. And so a few weeks ago they had this speed healing thing. So you pay $40
Okay.
and there's like I don't know, 20 or 25 healers in
Oh
this
wow.
church on the church floor, including sound healing and everything. And for $40 you can go and experience all these different kinds of healing, reiki, and like
Okay.
also machines, and like radiograms, and oh my god, like so much different stuff. So I said to her, I said, let's go and experience that. She goes, okay, Dad, let's go. And
Yeah.
we went, and she went around and checked out what she liked, and I checked out what I liked, and we went, wow, what a cool experience that was.
That's neat. Yeah, that's really, really cool. That sounds fantastic. I feel like, retreats are definitely the where the mental health and medical field is moving towards. I definitely have a project on the back burner. I haven't had a chance to talk to you and Dad about it in full yet, but I definitely think that people are taking their health and wellness into their own hands. And not to say that there's anything negative about Western medicine. It does a lot of good.
And I
I'm
tell
not
you,
here to bash anything, but I definitely think it's time that we started adding some more things to the pot. And yeah, it's great to see all of them. I mean, I just went to like a market the other day, and there was like blue lotus, wild daga, like all these random things, and I was like, what? This is crazy. Like this is being sold as like health and wellness. Like okay, so yeah, it's neat to see like all these different initiatives coming up. So yeah,
yeah,
that's cool that you guys went and did that.
yeah, no, it's really cool. I guess I see we're coming up on an hour, so I just want to
Oh
want
yeah.
to get I want to get something in there yet. So the song "Kickin' Stones." If you go to my page, you can hear the song. It's on Spotify. The Mighty One, Kicking Stones from the Torture Rock and Roll album. It's dedicated to my best friend Jeff, who's not with us anymore. But more than that, it's really about bringing awareness to suicide prevention. Okay. Um, Thank you for putting up the link. That's awesome.
Of course,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, about suicide prevention. I believe that it's important that people know that, like, if you something's happening, you need to call the police or the fire department or whatever, you call 911, right? If something goes wrong. If you feel like you might want to take your own life, before you do that, there's a prefix to call. It's 988. Okay. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there are mental health professionals there waiting to talk to you. Okay. So I want to really bring that up. That's sort of the main intention about Kicking Stones, and this video and everything is about that 988 number and making sure that people know. It used to be like a 1-800 something something something. It was like
Yeah,
it
thank
was
goodness
really
they
hard to
simplified
remember.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they did. And actually, and I apologize today for my post not having it in there. But if you go back to it, there actually Calico will be it'll be in the description, and it'll absolutely be in the comments to the original post, and I'll make sure that it goes up. It's actually in my copy, paste, and save to everything. Suicide awareness and prevention. Yeah, thank you, Tim, for sharing the story and of everything that has to do with Kicking Stones. I don't know if everybody knows this, but Calico's son, DJ Lion, shout out to DJ Lion. He's a bursary recipient, a Pinecase bursary recipient,
Mm.
in honor of Corey Harris, who is a friend of mine who took his life when we were still in grade school, which actually got me onto the road of um, public speaking, if you can imagine. And so yeah, suicide prevention is something that we take very seriously around here. So yes, absolutely, you guys, for everyone out there, please know that there is definitely lines you can call. Canada has finally simplified it for us, and the link will be in the description. So
Yeah, I think it's actually North America wide now,
mhm.
and some other countries also. So
Yeah,
98. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah,
Beautiful. Well, I honor you and all of the amazing work that you're doing. Bringing awareness to mental health and the importance of it. I'm dedicated to supporting you in any way that I can, and
thank you.
I'm dedicated to supporting anybody who wants help. Can always reach out to me here on Facebook, or timsteinruck.com is another place you can go to, okay, where you can reach me directly and you can send me a message there. I am open to doing sessions with people, as far as if you really think that maybe that I'm someone you would like to work with. We can do an in-depth session together and have a look at what that looks like. And you know it doesn't we don't always match and fit with everybody who we reach, but sometimes it does. And I've had some really good success with people. Like I could tell you a million stories about people who are now living amazing lives that not long ago were thinking, like, I need to check out, like, I'm done,
Hmm.
I'm out, I'm out. And now they're just like, they're having these vibrant careers, their families are doing well, and everybody deserves that. I believe that everybody is divine. They have divinity inside of them. And very much like, and I use this analogy of Michelangelo. So they said to Michelangelo, because the David that Michelangelo carved, right? And they said, like, how did you see that? Like, how did you do that? And he says, well, I just took that block of stone and I chipped away all the parts that were not the David. And that's the key, I think, to having a life that is vibrant, a life that is rewarding, a life that is amazing, is chipping away the parts of ourselves that are not really us.
Yeah.
And maybe stuff that we've taken on, maybe that's beliefs, whatever it is, you know? Chip those things away. Underneath that is a beautiful, divine human being in every single one of us.
Hmm. Well said. I don't know how to follow that, to be quite honest. It's Tim, you're absolutely right. What a great analogy. We do have a hotline. It is 250-289-3948. And I'll chat with you, Tim, afterwards, but maybe we can get you on there as well. It is a platform where we have multiple people that are available. And so the people that want to utilize the hotline, they can text it first and let them know who they want to speak with specifically if they're available, or if it doesn't really matter, then that's fine. And that information actually goes to all the people that are involved. So you don't have to necessarily answer all of them, and you can if you're available, or whichever and whatever. So I can show you a little bit about that. But Calico will pop the poster down below. And then again, yeah, absolutely reach out to Tim. He's on multiple platforms. And obviously just a really easy person to talk to. I forgot that I was like supposed to be hosting at some point throughout this, and just kind of casually tucked my foot underneath underneath my butt and, like, grabbed my tea and was like, oh, okay, right. Because yeah, your all of your education is definitely shows, and you're very relaxed. So
Well,
thank you for everything that you've done.
my pleasure. I'm here to serve. I believe that's the reason that we're all here, is to serve each other. And when we approach life in that way, we
Hmm.
just make the world a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. Tonight kicks off the first day for mental health for Men's Mental Health Month. Sorry, Metal Music for Men's Mental Health Month. That is a mouthful, and I'm going to have to practice that a few more times. But for those of you who've been liking and sharing all of the memes, I appreciate it. We do have a draw for 2 tickets to Decimates Metal Fest. And us over at Pinecase, we are gearing up to have a few more conversations in June. June is Men's Mental Health Month. It's also Pride, which a lot of those conversations go hand in hand. So in honor of both of those, we do have people that are representing the LGBTQ plus community. We also have people that will be representing the metal music community, and we'll definitely be searching for Tim to come and join us for more conversations. For you to come and join us for more conversations in June, it would be great. I just, not to interrupt, I noticed Dad was commenting a few times, but none of his comments came up. So my apologies, Mr. Campbell. I'm not too sure what he was trying to get through.
I saw
Yeah.
one. I saw one. He sent us some love. There you go.
Yeah.
There's the one.
And then he did send a few after that, and there's nothing on them, so I'm not too sure, but anyways, I did notice them, Dad.
He's one of the most amazing human beings I know. He's got so much love, and I just feel so grateful to have him as a friend and a bandmate. Yeah, and oh my goodness, does he look good in this music video? I can't wait to see it. Probably the sexiest man alive. I swear.
The amount of times I've heard that in my life, like, everyone's just like, "Oh my God, is that your dad?" I'm like, yeah, 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 totally. I'm finally at an age where I can, like, start appreciating it, and I'm like, "Man, have you guys checked it out lately?" Like, yeah, no, we're all excited to see what's happening in it for sure. Oh, Calico says he sends stars. Aw, that's
Oh,
really
it was
sweet.
stars. Okay, great,
Yeah,
awesome.
that's so sweet. That's really, really cool. That's too funny. Well, yeah, and Tim, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. It felt like being at home, to be honest. Leading up to this, we've done, I think, 6 or 7 interviews. Most of them, the project started on the streets, so I was talking in recovery houses and shelters and things like that. So it was a bit different bringing it to the internet. But yeah, this is definitely it's definitely nice seeing a familiar face. So thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for what you do, and thank you for Pinecase, and love you guys so much. And yes, Decimate Music Festival. I'm gonna actually have to call the organizers, see if there's maybe a spot for the Mighty One.
My phone's turned off right now, but yeah, you can. Yeah,
Much love,
sounds
Richard.
good. Yeah, much love and respect, Tim. Yeah. All right, you guys, I'm going to quickly give you a quick blurb about what's happening with the fundraisers. So, Decimate Metal Fest is happening June 7th and 8th. It's going to be in Millet. It was originally in Calgary, which was super successful. We moved on to Millet, which is closer to me. So, I need you guys in Edmonton, in YEG, to go ahead and go grab those tickets. For those of you who missed the 420 sale, it's all good. We're doing single sales coming up May 1st, so you don't have to commit to the whole weekend. Although if you do want to, we have camping passes, there's spaces, it's indoor, we got outdoor. It's going to be awesome. The roster this year is out of control. There is something for everybody in the world of metal music, and the hostess with the mostest, birthday girl, is it's going to be great. So you can go ahead on to Decimate Metal Fest on Facebook, decimatemetalfest.com, and grab your tickets. You guys can go ahead and click on pretty much any picture on my Facebook. It'll probably take you there. In the meantime, May 4th, we have a fundraiser coming up. It's going to be at the Rec Room in Calgary. It is all ages. Donations at the door, $15 if you got it. Who's playing that night? Siren, of course, is playing. There's a few bands that are playing. Die Another Day, Glass Cult, Lightning Ant Music School. I hope I'm saying that right. Sorry, you guys. It's an actual school, so that's really neat. And like I said, $15 at the door. Doors open at 6. Stage happens at 7. Nothing unusual there. There's going to be another fundraiser later on in the month, but that's the one to focus on. So if you're in Calgary and you're not going to be able to make it to Edmonton to Decimate Metal Fest, you can go ahead and hit up Rec Room to see kind of some of the vibe that's happening for the fundraisers, and you can contribute that way. And I think that's it for me tonight. Thank you so much, Tim. Everyone go check out the Mighty One, and the release of Kicking Stones is coming up. You guys can go ahead and watch all the trailers and teasers and be part of the White Knuckle Bated Breath crew, because honestly, couple more days, couple more sleeps, no big deal. But yeah, it'll absolutely be worth every minute. So
Friday, May 3rd.
there you have it. You heard it here. Everyone, take care, stay safe.
Bye, Kalisha.
Bye, Tim.